Today, we will talk about 10 of the most beautiful places in Scotland. Scotland has drama in every corner. Mountains that rise straight out of the sea, remote island archipelagos, legends of fearsome bravery and terrible betrayal. Throw in countless lochs, breathtaking wildlife, eagles, stags, whales, and salmon that need space and isolation to continue to exist. And don't forget, Scotland has castles aplenty, many of them broken ruins, but some given new life as aristocratic hotels. In short, this is a place with a rawness and a purity that will appeal to anyone with an ounce of poetry in their soul. 1. Lewis and Harris, Outer Hebrides. Each of the Outer Hebrides have their own natural beauty. Barra is rugged, with its airstrip making use of a tidal beach. The Uists are low-lying and waterlogged, lined on the west with springy wildflower-rich machair. But it is Lewis and Harris, officially two separate islands, but actually the same lump of land, which have the big-ticket attractions. On Harris, it's the West Coast Caribbean-style white sand beaches, such as Luscantyre, plus the architect-designed homes. On Lewis, the standing stones at Callanish draw the visitors, as does Stornoway, the metropolis of the Outer Hebrides. 2. Mainland Orkney Isles. The archipelago that lies offshore from John O'Groats is quite unlike the Scottish Highlands. Orcadian accents are far gentler, reflecting Scandinavian origins, and the land is smoother and more fertile, well suited for grazing. Most remarkable on mainland, the biggest of the islands, are the Neolithic-era tombs and excavated villages, which had to be well built to withstand the weather. Also long-lasting is the tradition of the ba game, a rugby-related mass scrum which rampages through the main town of Kirkwall every winter. 3. Knoydart Highlands. Regularly cited as the most remote part of mainland British Isles, Knoydart is a mountainous peninsula on the west coast of Scotland opposite the Isle of Skye, with whales and dolphins offshore and eagles overhead. A handful of small settlements are distributed along its single shoreline road, with the main community and famous pub The Old Forge gathered around the village of Inverie, on a sheltered bay in Loch Nevis, where regular ferries connect it to the port of Mallaig. Not so long ago, Knoydart was in decline, but a community buyout of the estate has triggered a local resurgence. 4. Islay and Colonsay Southern Hebrides. Not as well-trodden as their northern relatives Skye and Mull, the southerly Hebrides are gentler, quieter landscapes, well worth an island-hopping odyssey. Colonsay, reached by ferry from Oban, is a land of farms and immaculate beaches, particularly up at Killaran. Meanwhile, Islay, which is ferry-connected to Colonsay and to the mainland at the Mull of Kintyre, is whiskey heaven, with no fewer than 8 distilleries, including the likes of Bowmore, Ardbeg, and Lafroig, all producing distinctive and peaty single malts. 5. Ben Nevis and the Caledonian Canal Highlands. The highest mountain in the United Kingdom, at 4,413 feet, Ben Nevis looms over Fort William, a hub for all manner of adventures. The Ben is an arduous but straightforward enough hike for the fit and the well-prepared, but anyone less so would be better advised to take the cable car up adjacent on it more, primarily intended for summer hiking and mountain biking. Fort William is also the start of the Caledonian Canal, which links Loch Lochy to Loch Ness all the way to Inverness, splitting Scotland in half. 6. Great Train Journeys Highlands. The sleeper train from London, a time machine where you fall asleep among black cabs and wake up among red deer in the Highlands, is regularly nominated as one of the world's best train journeys. It crosses the bleak wilderness of Rannoch Moor before descending into Fort William, and from here, the Mallaig line sets off along a chain of lochs and a spectacular series of glens, crossing the Glenfinnan Viaduct, made famous by the Harry Potter films, and finally flirting the beach-lined coast. Steam locomotives work this route in summer. 7. The Cairngorms, Highlands, and Aberdeenshire. Ben Nevis may be the highest of Scotland's mountains, but the wildest are the Cairngorms National Park, which cover a massive 1,748 square miles. Among the tops, a series of plateaus create a bleak, boulder-strewn semi-tundra, littered with rocky outcrops and rich in wild species such as ptarmigan and golden eagle, as well as the UK's only herd of reindeer. Aviemore is the adventure hub for the range, but also in the national park is Braemar, famous for hosting the annual Highland Games. 8. Big Tree Country, Perthshire. The Dukes of Atholl, who some 200 years ago owned most of the land between Perth and Inverness, planted 25 million trees here, including larch, Douglas fir, maple, western hemlock, and redwood, which is why this region has been designated Big Tree Country. Key resorts are Victorian Pitlochry and Gentile Dunkeld on the banks of the Silvery Tay. Seek out the remnant of Burnham Wood, as mentioned in Shakespeare's Macbeth, on the Tay's bank. The Queen's View, high above Loch Tummel, is particularly fabulous in autumn when the colors turn. 9. The Nook of Fife, Fife. The Nook, corner, of Fife is an intimate place of fishing villages, such as Cradle and Pittenweem, whose red-roofed cottages cluster together along the harbor wall. Colorful boats bob in the bay, and Pittenweem still has a morning fish market, mostly for lobster and crab. Further around the Nook, the scene changes at St. Andrews. This handsome town is dominated by two institutions, the Royal and Ancient, one of the most historic golf clubs in the world, and the University, which attracts students from the top echelons of society, including royalty. 10. Loch Lomond and the Trossachs, Argyll/Stirling. This hugely accessible national park just north of Glasgow has a bit of everything. Scenic Loch Lomond is a place of boat cruises and water sports, with the long-distance West Highland Way setting off along its eastern shore. There are more cruises over at neighboring Loch Katrine, where the Sir Walter Scott trails its ribbons of steam. In between the lochs, the hills and glens are cloaked in oak and fir, particularly around the adventure center of Aberfoyle. And finally, several mountains over 3,000 feet rise silently out of the northern part of the park, a foretaste of the wilderness beyond. 11. Edinburgh, Lothian. A dramatic set of hills, the seat of government, a famous castle, a major annual festival, and a long literary tradition. It's hard to know where to begin with the Scottish capital. Experience the views from Edinburgh Castle, which hosts its Royal Military Tattoo every August. Take a ghost tour through the dank alleys and staircases of the lugubrious old town, and see the elegant new town, which, despite the name, is mostly late 18th century. Planning your Scottish Odyssey. This is just the start of the story when it comes to beautiful Scottish spots. You could also admire craggy sea stacks in Orkney, white sand beaches in the Outer Hebrides, and eerie sea caves on the North Coast 500. Want to see some of these amazing places in Scotland for yourself? Nordic Visitor can make it happen. Choose from our top Scotland packages to find a tour that suits you perfectly. Take your pick from self-drive packages, guided group tours, and private tours in Scotland. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.